Hey, what's up, everybody? If you have toys from your childhood that have been sitting in boxes or plastic bags for years or even decades, hopefully this video can help you out. I recently unpackaged my childhood toys and I wanted to get them all cleaned up for my own children to play with. You can see here I have a variety of G.I. Joes, action figures. We've got Voltron. We've got Thundercats and He-Man, two Action Man dolls, and a variety of superhero figures. Not only are they dirty and dusty, but they're also very sticky. There's a plasticizer that's been added to this plastic years ago when they were made that needs to breathe. And if they've been sealed up, then that plasticizer goes out of them and then is reabsorbed back into it, creating a residue and sticky tackiness. So I'm going to take an action figure, Lion-O here from Thundercats, and you can see how shiny and perfectly new he is. This is my method and how I've figured this out. So I wanted to share some things with you. So first of all, you can see here I've got lots of toys that have been sealed up in bags. So our first option here, we're gonna be putting all of these toys into a pillowcase, a couple of pillowcases actually. Now these are all gonna be my loose pieces of plastic. So like doors and guns and backpacks and all this stuff. And we're gonna put that on the side for now. My bigger figures here, my action figures and whatnot, we're gonna actually soak them in the bathtub for a while. So let's get started with this one first. We'll fill up the bathtub, and I'm putting some lukewarm water in, not too hot, but certainly not cold. And I'm going to be adding some baking soda and some vinegar to my water. And there's no exact science here. I'm just putting a healthy dose in. And you can see it with the vinegar here immediately activate. Now, this is a natural way to clean your toys. However, you're going to want to be really careful. Anything I suggest in this video, I cannot say that it won't damage your toys. I can only account for what I did and my toys. And this method I found did not damage my toys. I'm also going to add a little bit of Dawn soap to this mixture just to help get off some of that greasy grime and whatnot, whatever else is on there. And I'm going to soak everything. Notice I'm trying to keep them as together as I can. Some things are coming out. Not too worried about, but I'm going to keep things in plastic bags, just unseal them, fill them up with the solution, and let them sit. Again, this is so I can relatively keep things organized. All right, so we've got things soaking, and I'm just going to let that do its thing, and I'm going to let it soak for several hours. Meanwhile, I will finish my washing machine job. We're going to put, as I mentioned before, all these loose toys into, again, there's a shot of the bag. We're going to be putting this stuff into some pillowcases and putting them through the washing machine. Obviously going to make sure that you don't have any electronics in here. In fact, in any of the toys that are going to be soaking or moving through water, only plastic items, and perhaps think about minimizing any metal items so that things don't rust. So I have two pillowcases filled with my plastic toys. I'm sealing them up. You saw just a second ago sealed up with a tie down, a little plastic tie down to make sure that does not come undone, obviously. And we'll go ahead and let that fill up with water, and we're going to run it through a full cycle. And then we'll take these out, and that does the trick, obviously. That is a great way to get rid of all that grime and buildup and stuff. So I'm going to take the tie downs off of the pillowcases and bring them outside to air dry. You would have the option of putting them through the dryer on a low to no heat. I did not do that. I wanted to air dry everything. So I just kind of emptied all these plastic loose toys out. And the spin cycle on the washing machine pretty much dried everything out. But of course we've got some moisture left in it. So we'll spread everything out here. And the idea is that it has room to breathe in a ventilated area, perhaps in a high wind or relatively high wind area, or if you have a box fan or ceiling fan. So you can see there a little bit of moisture there. And this, I'm feeling for the tackiness and the stickiness. That has pretty much gotten rid of any of the tacky stickiness on these little pieces that I felt earlier, so that's good. All right, so let's go back to the soaking action figures. I have a brush, not unlike one that you would use to wash your car by hand, And of course I have a little toothbrush you saw there. And while this stuff is soaking, after an hour or so, or a couple of hours, again, not an exact science, I'm just going to gently scrub everything down here. You want to be careful, of course, not to damage any of the parts, delicate parts or paint. And all of my stuff is pretty soft bristled here, so I didn't notice any damage at all occurring. Obviously, you'll want to test that in your own situation, though. We've got Lionel here from the Thundercats. We'll give him a good brushing, and we'll see if this removes some of the tacky stickiness from him. Now, at the very least, this little bath that they're all taking, like I said before, is going to get rid of all the grime and just get them clean, right? All right. So with all of those kind of scrubbed, getting into all the crevices and little areas under the arms and behind all those little hiding spots, we should be good to go. So we'll take the action figures out and we'll let them dry on a towel like you can see here. And obviously pat dry and then just let it air dry. If you have a box fan again or a ceiling fan, feel free to help that dry things up faster. All right, so we've got all the G.I. Joes and other action figures out, separated, and I put most of them face down or face up, and then after a while I can go and flip them. Now, you're not going to get all of the little crevices dry necessarily in a short amount of time. Again, a fan will help you out quite a bit. Just another shot of things drying here. All right, let's take a look at Mr. He-Man. The chest is pretty much a little sticky still, a little sticky. And let's check out our guinea pig here, Lionel. He's a little sticky as well. Okay, so the bath didn't work super well to get that tacky stickiness off. So let's step it up a notch. I have a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, and I'm going to see if a little toothbrush bath with hydrogen peroxide on his left leg. I'll use the right leg as control. So I'll be flipping him over and giving him a full hydrogen peroxide bath with his left leg to see if that does the trick. And it does not. So my next step, I'm going to soak a variety of action figures in a blend of water and hydrogen peroxide, and I'm going to give them some more scrubbing to see if I can get that sticky tacky residue off. And again, the answer is not really. So let's this time step it up a notch further. We're going to apply some baking soda directly to his left leg. This is my guinea pig leg here, and some vinegar. Vinegar is going on now. You can see the reaction, chemical reaction happening, and I will be cleaning that, brushing it, and scrubbing it. All right, that did not work either. All right, so now I'm getting a little frustrated. If baking soda doesn't work with vinegar, and nor does hydrogen peroxide, I'm going to bring it up another step here. So I have something called paint deglosser. Not sure if you've ever heard this. I'm going to put a link in the description below if you'd like to learn more about this and use it yourself. But I'm going to take a little buffer pad, put a little paint deglosser on his right leg, and try to buff some of this residue off of there. And actually, that helps quite a bit. I'm noticing his right leg is indeed pretty smooth. All right, so this is good news, but I'm not happy or satisfied quite yet. Finally, I'm going to take a little bit of clear coat spray. Again, I'll put a link down below for the stuff that I like. It does not yellow or anything like that, at least it didn't for my toys. And I'm going to give Lionel and all of my toys here a nice light spray, and that's going to create a barrier between that old plastic and your fingers when you go to pick it up and touch it. And that's going to give me peace of mind that when my kids go to play with it, there's not any of that old plastic that's going to seep through and possibly cause them harm. I have no idea if it does, but I have a bad feeling that it might. So this was kind of a do-it-yourself way, and it also creates a beautiful shine and sheen. It makes it look pretty much brand new. Obviously, it doesn't take care of the chips in the paint and whatnot. But look at that. Lionel here has been through a lot with me today, and he is looking really good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all my other toys. laying them out side by side like this and giving them a couple of light coats of clear coat. And then of course I'll flip them over when they're dry. And the idea is that they all turn out pretty much like this. I'm really happy with this. Of course, I can't tell if this is going to work with your particular toys in your setup or not, but one word of caution, I would not put the clear coat on any type of rubber. So the He-Man face, for example, or Lionel's hair here is kind of rubber. That clear coat will actually make it sticky, which is obviously what I'm trying to avoid here. But at the end of the day, I am rest assured that my kiddos are safely able to play with these old toys that have been sitting in boxes for decades. And how cool is that? And don't forget to store them in a breathable container to avoid that plasticizer buildup.